Now let's see how to incorporate chain rule with quotient rule. We can see that for this function here, for the example, it's definitely quotient rule because there's two functions and what's going on between them, they're being divided. Then there's chain rule on the bottom because we have a composed function of x squared plus 1 into x squared. So since we're going to use quotient rule, let's start by defining our top, bottom, and their derivatives. So f at x is going to be negative 2 x squared minus x minus 1. G at x is going to be equal to x squared plus 1 squared. Now we can find f prime of x. Actually, we won't yet. Let's expand and simplify here. So we get negative 2 x squared plus 2x plus 2. Now we can take the derivative. So now that's when I write f prime. I wait until I take the derivative to write the symbol prime. We get negative 4x and then plus 2, which it's probably good to simplify here. So let's make this negative 2, 2x minus 1. Then over here we get g prime of x is going to be equal to, we have chain rule. So the inside function is x squared plus 1 and the outside function is the square. So we'll take the derivative of the outside function, which is of course by throwing the 2 out front, keeping the inside the same, and subtracting 1 off the exponent. So that's now to the 1. And then we multiply by the derivative of the inside. So the derivative of the inside, x squared plus 1, is just 2x. We'll simplify this, so we get 4x, x squared plus 1 to the 1. Now we'll use the formula, so I'll move this up a bit. So y prime is going to be equal to f prime g. So that's going to be negative 2, 2x minus 1 times x squared plus 1 squared. Then we subtract g prime f. So subtract 4x, x squared plus 1, that's g prime, times f. So for f, it's going to be negative 2, x squared minus x minus 1. And that's going to be all over the bottom squared, which if you square x squared plus 1, okay, and you square that, it's going to become to the 4. Now, let's simplify each individual term. Instead of working with negative 4 and the negative 2 here on the second term, so I'm looking right here, I'm going to group those together. I'm just going to erase this minus 4 and change it to a plus 8. And now we can see what our common factors should be. We have, in terms of coefficients, we have a negative 2 and an 8. So we'll pull out a negative 2 here. Then both functions have an x squared plus 1. So we'll pull out an x squared plus 1 to the lowest exponent, which is going to be to the 1. Now, from the first term, what do we have left over? We have a 2x minus 1 and a x squared plus 1. From the second term, what do we have left over? When we pull out the negative 2 from the 8, we're down to minus 4. We still have an x, and we pulled out the x squared plus 1, so now we're just left with x squared minus x minus 1, and that's all over x squared plus 1 to the 4. Now, let's simplify within the square bracket, so we'll expand and simplify. We get 2x times x squared is 2x cubed, 2x times 1 is plus 2x, minus x squared minus 1, minus 4x cubed, plus 4x squared, and then plus 4x. All over. So I'll move this up. X squared plus 1 to the 4. We can still simplify within the brackets, the square bracket. That's now become a circle bracket, so the end one. We get 2x cubed minus 4x cubed collects to be negative 2x cubed. Then we have a negative x squared and a 4x squared, so that's going to be plus 3x squared. Then we have a 2x and a 4x, so that makes plus 6x. And then finally we have a minus 1. All over x squared plus 1 to the 4. To simplify a little bit more, we don't want a negative within that circle bracket to be our leading coefficient. So we'll pull out the negative, so we'll pull out we'll pull out this right here, and we'll pull it out and join it with that. So we're going to get 2x squared plus 1. And when we pull out a negative from the last bracket, it changes all the signs. So we get 2x cubed minus 3x squared minus 6x plus 1 all over x squared plus 1 to the 4. And the last thing we'll do is we have an x squared plus 1 on the top and an x squared plus 1 to the 4 on the bottom. We'll subtract exponents. So there's a 1 here, and then there's a 4 here. So let's subtract exponents in the direction of the bigger exponent, which is on the bottom. So it's going to become 2x cubed minus 3x squared minus 6x plus 1 all over x squared plus 1 to the 3. And that's the most factored form.